Hi everyone, how are you all doing? Welcome to another Sovereign Citizen Saturday. I know what you're thinking, didn't we just do a Sovereign Citizen stream? Yes we did, yesterday, but that was Friday. This is Sovereign Citizen Saturday. Basically I just felt like it, and also yesterday's stream was earlier in the day than usual, so if you missed yesterday, you gonna watch today? Cool. Annie Kai, thanks for 17 months. Aries Corinthier, thanks for 4 months, says, already 4 months. Was that the sub baby I felt kick or the burrito I ate for lunch? Guess we'll find out. Yesterday was Sovereign Citizen Saturday too, until I fixed it. Anyway, let's get into it. Because why not? This is actually a guy we saw a little bit of yesterday during a traffic stop, and here he is trying to explain to the mean commenters exactly why he doesn't need a driver's license, even though he definitely does.
I just wanted to make this.
Halloween Ends was the worst Halloween movie ever made, and I own Halloween 6.
Video while
It was garbage. It was hot garbage. I was genuinely disappointed and upset at how bad the new Halloween is.
fresh in my head because, you know, a lot of people be arguing with me about all these, like, points and stuff on a lot of these issues.
How is it worse than 6? Well, 6 is actually a movie about Michael Myers, even if it does include weird Thorn cult stuff. The new Halloween movie isn't a movie about Michael Myers. He barely makes a cameo in it. Not joking! Not joking!
Issues about driving and traveling and stuff, and they don't understand where I'm coming from and the things I'm trying to explain. So I'm going to try to break it down the best I can, okay? The Equal Protection Clause, the 14th Amendment, you know, it says that no state shall enforce any law that infringes on anybody's right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, right? Okay.
It doesn't say they're not allowed to license your car, sir. Cruelty 1, thanks for 10 months, says it's been one hell of a ride.
This all boils down to, like, money and residency clauses and...
Which Halloween movie has the rapper? Which one? Both LL Cool J and... who was the other one? Busta Rhymes were both in 2 Halloween movies back-to-back. What's my opinion on Halloween 20? Halloween H2O, or H20. Not as good as I remember. Watched it recently. Doesn't hold up as well. I honestly like Halloween Resurrection better than H2O. Just because Resurrection is at least funny bad.
You know, stuff like that, taxation for use of your vehicle on the roadway, and, like, you know, all these types of things. And basically...
Why do you think owning a car is encapsulated in pursuit of happiness? Like, just because something would make you happy doesn't literally mean that falls under pursuit of happiness. Like, it might make some people very happy to commit tax fraud or insider trading. That doesn't make those things legal automatically. So your entire argument here doesn't make sense. I like Halloween 3. It's just not a Halloween movie, but it's a good movie.
Simple as I can try to figure out to put it, it says that they can't imprison you and penalize you, punish you, or levy fines against you for operating your vehicle on the roadway during the course of your normal day-to-day activity.
They literally can and they do.
As long as you are not, like, involved in some sort of thing to make commerce, to make money, to profit. Someone's paying you, you know, Uber, Lyft, you know. You're
gonna watch Hellraiser 3 later? I actually like 3. 4 and beyond, I even like 4. Beyond that, I'm starting to get into, not worth it territory. I can do Hellraiser 1 through 4, no problem. Beyond that, it gets iffy.
Driving your car back to work and forth every day, that would be like going in to make money and stuff. But then at that same time...
Can I play this trailer as a cleanse for later? Let's see what it is. Sure, VHS 99. I like the VHS movies.
You know, they can't penalize you if you're doing these things and you don't make enough money to pay for these licensings and fees and registrations and insurances and things like
They will put you in jail, sir.
that. The Equal Protection Clause states that, you know, you can't be punished for, you know, having to function in your life, but also not being able to afford these things. And you know, it is on a...
Wow, he is absolutely out of his mind. The United States does not give a single fuck about poor people, sir. I wish we did, but we don't. Your inability to pay fines has no bearing on whether or not you're going to get them. If you can't afford to drive, the United States doesn't just go, well, okay, fine, do it anyway. They go, fuck you, you're poor, you don't get to drive. Citosaurus says, or Citosaurus rather, gifts a sub to Cult of Cautious Optimism. Thank you.
a case-by-case individual basis, you know, on personal rights and freedoms, you know. And that's why these things are important for people to know.
On a personal basis, does he think the cops are supposed to pull you over and ask you questions about your life and determine if you're, like, poor enough to not need a driver's license?
Individually, at the individual level, because I am exempt from these things.
He's not.
For many reasons, like I don't make enough money, I'm not a resident of the state, I'm homeless, I don't own property.
None of those things exempt you from laws. In fact, the police are likely to be much harsher on you because of those things.
You know, like
I get that that's a reality that you might not want to deal with because it's a scary and horrifying reality that in this country, and honestly most places in the world, the poor are treated like shit. Classism is a huge thing, and especially if you're someone who's struggling and doesn't have a vehicle and a home, a place to stay, it's very difficult for you to function, and the policing apparatus of the local area will absolutely take it out on you. They will try and get you out of there. They will move you away. They'll buy you a one-way bus ticket to California just to get you out of their town. This idea that, like, America has some special, like, you're poor, so we're gonna let you get away with it is so ridiculous. That is not how anything works. This nation is ridiculously punitive to those in poverty. Elminato says, I'm gonna need a license, registration, and copy of your W-2. Citosaurus says, just got a competent haircut for once, and they actually styled it. I don't recognize myself, and I know my goblin ass won't be able to replicate it if I try. We'll see how good it looks once I have a chance to fuck it up. In this moment, though, you're looking good. Looking good.
Like state laws say if you live there for a certain amount of time, but then what counts as a resident? I don't own property in this state, I'm homeless. But even this...
Okay, but even if you're not a resident of this state, then you would need a driver's license from a different state you are a resident in. You need a driver's license in the United States, in all 50 states. Don't know about territories. Probably has some sort of licensing, though, but I genuinely don't know.
The property that I live on, I stay in the woods in a tent on my family's farm. These laws and amendments and clauses even say that farm vehicles are exempt from these things.
You stupid bitch! Just because you live on a farm, it doesn't make your vehicle a farm vehicle. That's not what that means! Kirthan with 100 bits says, my wife is scared of horror movies but agrees to watch one per year with me for Halloween. Any recommendations that aren't too scary? Midsommar. That's a mean one. That's mean for me to say. When they say farm vehicle, states that have exemptions for farm vehicles, I am in one, by the way. A lot of farming in Michigan. I used to be in a community that had a lot of farm vehicles. It's where I grew up. So the farm vehicles is literally for vehicles that are only used for the farm, doing business for the farm. You understand? You have to be in a vehicle that you only ever use for farm business, which clearly he doesn't. He doesn't work on this farm. He just lives in a tent on the property. And you have to be, like, going somewhere for farm business. Like if you're going to get supplies nearby, and again, this still only applies under certain circumstances and certain distances. Basically, if you're going from your home to a different field nearby and need to use a public roadway, if you need to get to a very close store, you can do that. But other than that, you cannot use it. Just willy-nilly. Not how this works. Citisaurus, thank you for gifting 3 Tier 1 subs to the community. And we're on a boost train. 42% to level 2 on the boost train.
If your vehicle weighs less than 3,000 pounds, you know, you're not subject. I ride a motorcycle, so my vehicle doesn't weigh more than 3,000 pounds. You know, I do work a full-time job, but I don't make over $16 an hour, and I live in Maryland, and it states here that $21 is what is the living wage here, so I don't even make a living wage.
There's nothing in the law that says those who make under a living wage don't have to have a driver's license.
I don't even have to
What kind of psychotic shit is this?
pay rent and stuff, but I don't make enough money.
You don't have to pay rent, sir? I wish that was true. I really do. I don't like rent as a concept. But here we are.
To make it from paycheck to paycheck, just buying food and going through my daily life. So when I say I don't need a license and stuff, I'm not saying nobody needs a license or anything like that. I don't think people should.
Tetsu Fox, thanks for 22 months. 69% to level 2. Nice. I'm gonna pop open this window. I'm getting a little warm.
Shouldn't have to learn how to drive and get licensings and things like that. What I'm saying is you can't be punished for not being able to afford to participate in these things.
You absolutely can be punished for that. You can and will be punished for that by society.
That's basically what the Equal Protection Clause says.
No,
in the 14th
incorrect.
Amendment. So, you know, I am exempt for many reasons. I've been to court for this already twice, and it's gotten thrown out. So,
Our suspicion last time was that the cops didn't show up, so we got a default judgment. Genuinely don't know.
you can look up all these things. I can post links to them. The taxation clause under the 14th Amendment that talks about licensing fees and registration fees and levying taxes or whatever for upkeep of the roadway, and the residency clauses and things like that. All of these things are listed on the website that lists for the 14th Amendment, and it has everything listed right there. So you need to know these things about yourself to know your rights and that what you can do and can't do. That's what it's all about, is your personal and individual freedoms. So stay safe and
oh boy. That's a shame. I hope this guy figures out that that's not going to work out for him. 69% to level 2 with a minute left. Day 10 of this guy's trial. We spent most of yesterday's stream taking a look at this guy who's decided to be his own lawyer after he killed 6 people, allegedly, and injured like 50 or 60 more. He was the guy that drove through that Christmas parade, I think in Minnesota. So anyway, he's doing his own lawyer stuff, and it's going badly.
Charging instruments. And for the record,
yes, we do have some more stuff later.
I do not
Dave M1, thanks for 1,000 bits, getting us over level 2. I believe that was level 2. We're right close to it. Nope, we got over. Cool.
consent to or agree to being called that name that you have identified here today.
The record should reflect that the individual known to this court as Daryl Brooks is present in person in custody in street clothes, specifically a suit and tie, and a...
Apparently he decided to go back to wearing the suits. For a couple days he was deciding to wear just his prison, jail uniform. Guessed he changed his mind.
mask. I just also want to...
You mentioned a book about people who fall for conspiracy theories. Suspicious Minds. It's a non-fiction book. I was reading that recently. Finished it a little while ago.
make a record quickly that a number of documents were left by Mr. Brooks in the holding area just outside the courtroom. They have been put on his desk today. It's all of the autopsy protocols that were provided to him yesterday, the hard copies, that is, the diagrams that were presented in court related to those protocols, and a copy of the pretrial offer. So I just wanted to make that record. Hold on, not right yet, please. So I have been advised that all of the jurors are here and ready to go. I presume the state has available its next witness.
Yes.
We do, and we'd also move State's Exhibit 162A into evidence.
As to 162A,
21% to level 3 on the hype or boost train.
Mr. Brooks, any position on that?
Yeah, I object. I haven't even seen it. First of all, and second of all, again, for the record.
Mr. Brooks, I'm just dealing only with the exhibit right now. Sorry for the interruption, but
Have we done his 15-minute rant yet? He did a 40-minute rant we watched most of yesterday. The suit apparently negates his interrupting power.
I need to
It gives him a +1 to his wisdom score. He realizes a little bit better when he needs to shut up.
do that without interruption from you. 162A was a screen capture that related to an annotation that a witness made. I believe that was during witness number 34. Yes, that was Mr. Hallmark. And so based upon that, Exhibit 162A is received, and I will so advise the jury when they come in. Sir, I'm not going to address any preliminary matters at this point. I've already addressed a number of things yesterday. The jury is to be brought out.
No, there was some things that needed to be discussed about the paperwork from yesterday.
We'll take that up on a break. You can look over it, and you can make a note and pass it to
I've
my clerk.
already looked over it, Your Honor. With all respect, I think there's some things.
Mr. Brooks, I'm not going to deal with it right now. It's paperwork. I just wanted it notated that you left it, and now it's being provided to you again.
I'm not referring to that paperwork.
I'm not dealing with the paperwork from the clerk of court's office either. I am not the custodian. We're going to bring the jury out.
Okay, but she should
Brooks?
know that she's trying to
Mr. Brooks,
get me to pay.
stop. I am
She's trying
not
to get me to pay
addressing it.
something. It has to be addressed, Your
All right,
Honor,
I'm
'cause
going to
if I
take
don't-
a quick break and make sure the jury's ready, and
If
we'll
I don't,
This poor woman. 24% to level 3 with a minute and a half left. Do the hype train, chat. I believe in us.
if I don't address it now,
It muted. Why'd it mute? Was he giving personal information or something that they edited out? Why can't I hear anymore?
now
That's weird. Does it just cut to the other ear? No, it mutes. Why does the audio suddenly mute? That's weird. Oh,
This is an ear.
there we go. Yeah, he must have said some private information at some point they had to edit out.
Thank you. The jury can come on out.
40 seconds left of the hype. Don't let
No.
it die at level
I was told to
Two.
say something under
Pathetic.
a civil
Mr. Brooks, I am not the custodian. Bring it up with the clerk of court.
This isn't hype. This isn't hype at all.
How
not
can I bring
addressing
it up
it.
with the clerk of court?
This is a malaise train.
How am I supposed to do that? So that makes me wonder if it's a
Mr.
civil
Brooks,
case.
the jury's coming out. I'm not going to
it's-
address your request
If
for
it's
open
civil-
records.
if it's-
Olive and Aspiration, thanks for gifting a sub.
That's
civil,
I'm not.
Bumble Homestead, thanks for gifting a sub. Bittergrin gifts 1,000 bits. Level 3 complete. That was a close one. That was like 15 seconds left. Thank you.
The custodian of the record,
Who's
sir.
being sued? My Sesame Trust is being sued? Civil is a
Mr.
civil
Brooks, this
matter.
is an irrelevant matter that you're attempting to bring up in the
If
presence
it
of the
was-
jury. The
I
record
was
should
not. I was
reflect
trying
these
to bring it up
interruptions.
before the jury came out, Your Honor.
And I
know
told
that.
you I wasn't going to address it. Please.
Okay, so it's a civil matter. Who's being sued?
It's not a civil matter. What? This is a criminal trial. Citosaurus with 300 bits says, I'm doing my part. Some more. This lady sounds like she wants to die inside. Don't we all? Brokagam, thanks for gifting 5 tier 1 subs. Imagine you have to go and listen to this guy for work. Like, I only have to do it as long as I want to. I get to decide to turn off the video whenever I want. She has to sit there and listen to him every day for hours. That must be insanity. 30% to level 5. Wow, this hype train got turned around real quick. Thank you, everyone.
Manifesting trust because how can I be
Mr.
sued?
Brooks, you're talking about an irrelevant matter between you and the
It
clerk
wasn't,
of court.
it wasn't irrelevant
So-
when I got the paperwork from the clerk of courts. I was simply
Mr.
trying
Brooks,
to address it.
I'm not going to address it. The jury will
So I'm
disregard
being
these
sued.
irrelevant
This is a civil
comments.
matter. We haven't addressed subject
All
matter
right, thank you,
jurisdiction yet at all
everyone.
either.
Please be seated. The jury
So
will
we're not gonna
disregard the
address subject
statements
matter?
Mr. Brooks is making about subject matter jurisdiction. They are a misstatement of the law.
Yes, no,
All right,
they're not.
and
Just like this is a civil case.
Mr. Brooks, the jury's here. Please
Just like
show
this is a civil
respect
case.
and decorum.
The court-
I swear to God, I thought he was gonna say, "Please shut the fuck up." I thought she was gonna say that. That's what I feel.
Document this is a
Mr.
civil
Brooks,
case,
please stop.
which means someone is being sued. Civil is a suit.
Mr. Brooks, you're talking about an irrelevant
I
matter.
have the
I'm
paperwork
starting
sent
the
by the clerk
trial.
of courts right here that says it's a civil matter.
Mr. Brooks
So
has
what's
nothing
being
to
sued?
do with
My
this
Session
case.
Trust is being sued.
I have no idea what you're talking about. So,
I got the paperwork right here.
all right, I'm
How
going to
do you not
excuse
know
the
what I'm
jury
talking
right
about?
now, given this disruption.
Jury coming in and out. That must be such a pain for them. Auntie Pretzel says, "Let's be fair. She really wants to tell him to shut the fuck up." True.
All rise for the jury.
This should be properly addressed before the jury even comes out. That's why I tried to properly address it before we even went on the record.
Mr. Brooks, stop.
I'm not gonna. This is.
You are
I
not
was
being
given
respectful
this
to this
paperwork by you, Your
proceeding
Honor,
or to
with all
this
respect.
jury. No,
With
it's
all
not.
due
With all due
respect.
respect,
With all due
stating that doesn't
respect.
make it.
Some people think he's just trying to throw it so he can get, like, the trial thrown out. I just think he's genuinely this stupid. I think this is genuinely something he thinks is going to work. Ashy Boo with 50 bits says, "Pissing everyone off. What a great way to win your trial." And Aw Squire, hats off. What would you like me to wear? Chidora, god damn it. Sure.
You're
I was given
respectful.
this
find
paperwork
it.
by you.
Mr.
from
Brooks,
Monica Paz.
stop talking
the
till the
clerk of
jury
court.
is out.
Okay,
Thank you.
So why couldn't we address this before they came out?
I'm
That
not
was the
going to
time-
address it,
That
bottom
was the
line.
time to address it, though. We're supposed to do all the addressings before the jury comes out, before we start the matter.
Please
I was
be
trying to
seated.
simply address paperwork that was given to me by you, Your Honor. That states that
Mr.
this-
Brooks,
it states that
you
this
have
is a
interrupted
civil
me
matter.
repeatedly. You are on the verge of being removed to that courtroom. I don't.
How many times has he been removed? It's a lot. First name bunch of numbers, thanks for gifting a sub. 50% to level 5.
Want to
On-
do
on
that?
what-
I want you to stay here.
on what
But
facts of the
you
law, Your
keep
Honor?
interrupting me and bringing up irrelevant matters. I told you yesterday, as a courtesy that was provided to you, so that you would.
She's getting madder as this goes on. Every day, it's like she gets a little more upset. Mr. Whiskers with 100 bits. Okie Dad with 45 says, "How the fuck has this guy not been charged with contempt?" Here's the thing. He's his own lawyer. So what do you do when you can't defend yourself?
Frankly, not complain
This is day 10.
that you didn't get it as quickly as possible. Okay? I am not the custodian of the records. If you have an issue with what was provided to you, how it was provided to you, then take it up with the clerk of
She
court.
can't
But
charge
from
me.
now on, I am not going to be the messenger and give you documents that you request to the custodian of the records or from the custodian of the records. They will simply have to be delivered to you at the jail. But that is in response to your discussion or whatever we want to call it this morning. I'm not taking it up.
It should-
All right? It is
Minute left on the
irrelevant.
hype
Needed
train.
to be noted for the record.
Revoke his rights to defend himself. I'm imagining that's where this is going. That can be revoked if you're, like, too much of a pain in the ass, and I'm wondering if that's what's going to happen here. Whole mistrial. Restart it. 30 seconds left on the hype train. 55%.
It doesn't
Because
need
it
to be
was-
noted, sir.
you
All right,
gave
the
it to
jury's
me-
coming
you gave
back
it to
out,
me in
and I'm
open
going
court.
to warn you, if you bring this up again, I will pause, and I will
Whoa,
remove
Dave
you.
M1 gifts 2,000 bits. Just absolutely insane number of bits and gets us over level 5. Thank you.
To the next courtroom for being disrespectful, for being interruptive, for being disruptive, and for bringing up irrelevant matters in front of this jury. You will forfeit your right to be present for the direct examination of this witness.
I object to
Did
that,
you
Your Honor.
hear what
I object to you giving me orders, Your Honor. 17% to level 6 on the boost train.
I said, sir?
No, I did not. I object to that, Your Honor.
Well, you can
And-
object, and your objection is noted, but if you
For the
interrupt
record-
when this jury
for
comes
the
out,
record-
they will go, I will have them taken out again, and you will be removed to the next
For the-
courtroom.
You can't.
What's the point of the second courtroom? So they can mute him If he's in the second courtroom, they can mute him whenever he goes on these tirades and no one has to hear him but himself.
Is the legal basis for that ruling, Your Honor?
Illinois versus Allen, sir, and all of the other cases that
and it
I've
doesn't
cited
say
previously.
anything
I'll
that-
make the appropriate record. Stop interrupting me. The jury's coming out. We're continuing with this trial despite your repeated efforts to disrupt.
That's a
Yesterday,
mischaracterization
sit
of the
down.
record.
Yesterday alone, sir, 17 interruptions, not including the opportunity that I gave you where you spent 50 minutes, okay, discussing what were primarily either irrelevant or baseless accusations and requests not based in law or fact. I was
Thought it was closer to 40 minutes, but she was there, so.
abundantly patient with you yesterday.
And you still haven't
And-
verified by proof any of what I
And
said,
none
Your
of that
Honor.
is required, sir.
Because it
And
is. You can't verify
your
any proof.
belief
Where's
that
the
that's the
subject matter-
law
where's the subject matter
doesn't make it
jurisdiction?
so, Mr. Brooks. Your belief that these are legitimate legal positions
They are.
doesn't change the law and doesn't make it so.
It's
So,
clearly
again,
relevant because you didn't want to.
I'm
address
going
it.
to step off and give Mr. Brooks 5 minutes to cool off,
I'm
and
not-
when that
I don't
happens,
need
I'm
to
bringing
cool
the
off.
jury
I'm not
out,
angry at all.
and then we will
I just wanted
continue.
to. I don't.
This guy's such a dipshit.
Just how
I genuinely can't believe just, like, how ridiculous this whole thing is.
Wow,
Here's a different part of the trial, by the way. This was a video. This is him doing, I think, a cross-examination. Hydrate. 17% to level 6 on the hype. So this is during a cross-examination of a witness. This witness pulled a gun on the defendant as he was driving through, because this guy had a legal firearm. You can in the United States, of course. So he pulled out a gun, and he was going to try and shoot him because, you know, he's killing a bunch of people. Self-defense. So anyway, it doesn't go well. Surprise. For the defendant. Bittergrin says, is there a reason why he's the only person wearing a mask? Not that I don't support masks, but I assumed the type of person who would defend themselves wouldn't. Might be a jail thing, because he's going back and forth to jail, and it's a lot of people in close quarters. So, being careful about COVID is, you know, more paramount.
firing your weapon right there, would that be fair to say?
I do not know if I have pulled the trigger yet or not. I don't believe I have.
You were ready to fire at that point.
Atheist Brony, thanks for 22 months, says, this payment to Hannah Reloaded paid for by Jack Chick. Not really. But let's pretend, because it's funny. Ooh, ghost money. And just, is it just Jess, or just, that's Jessie, right? Just Jessie? 45 bits? Thanks.
That's correct.
Do you recall what you were aiming for? Can
Yes, I do.
you state for the record and for the jury?
You, Daryl Brooks.
Well, that's devastating to his case, isn't it? MH Darkbeast says, howdy, Hannah. Are we doing more Court with Crazy? Fun. I thought you'd like this. Rihanna said that Sylvester McCoy's Seventh Doctor is her personal favorite version of the character. He's just very small, and it makes me laugh, she tells Variety. I would like to pick him up and throw him. Beautiful. 51% to level 6. Prakagam says, oh, this witness was savage. Yeah, this is just nuts.
Again, you make reference to the you and the name. How did you come to that? Seeing this how you just testified to that you couldn't see anything before what you call the Wisconsin house. Would that be fair to say that you...
Sir, how could you determine that it was me? Right now, I'm wearing a mask. How could you possibly know? Thank you, everyone, for the level 5 hype train and boost train. 2,000 people will get to see my channel now, because that's how boost trains work. I go into people's recommendeds. Helps the channel grow, so I appreciate it.
testify to that?
That's correct.
And you also stated that you learned additional information later on. Would that be fair to say?
That's correct.
So how could you determine at this time right now where we're looking at that you knew the suspect's name and the driver? Because you keep referring to you and then you saying the name. How did you have that information at this point that
He's not saying he knew your name at the time. He's just saying he can identify you now based on his recollection of that moment. Because he could still see you.
that's pause right here that we're looking at?
I didn't say at that time I knew your name.
You referred to the name.
Yeah, because he knows you now!
Did you not?
That is correct.
So how were you able to obtain the information
He's
about
such a dumb
the
bitch.
name?
I did not know your name at the time I shot at you.
Who's the you you're referring to?
You! The you!
Daryl Brooks.
Do you know how pronouns work?
Again, you say a name
This is the worst offense.
that you haven't answered how you came
I have the worst fucking lawyers.
to that information. Were you told this?
Yes.
By whom?
I do not know who told me. Ultimately,
If you didn't know my name, then I should feel no shame. Acquittal, Your Honor.
I just know that throughout the course of the investigation, you were arrested within 30 or 40 minutes, and you were identified as Daryl Brooks, who was the suspect in this incident.
So you either had to hear that name from either a report that you heard or someone told you. How did you come to the conclusion of the name?
I'm assuming someone at the police department told me your name.
And you don't recall who that was?
No.
Even though you can cite the name so clearly and identify it and keep stressing it and stressing it, and you don't recall how you learned the information of the name?
That is correct.
Like, I know this is a serious situation. This is a murder trial, but he's so stupid. He's so bad at this.
So is it fair to say that you're just using the name based off what you're told and not what you were aware of?
It doesn't matter. He recognizes you. He shot at you.
What are you asking me?
Is it fair to say that you're identifying this name based off of what you told and not what you knew?
What?
I'm saying the name based on the fact that you are now, you were arrested for this incident. You were identified during this incident, and because of that investigation, that is how we know your name.
Would it be fair to say, and obviously you said you've been in law enforcement for 7.5 years, correct?
Correct.
I'm sure you've done a lot of investigations in that 7.5 years. Is that fair to say?
Correct.
He's not even just some guy. He's a cop. Threw me off because he's just in a suit.
So you do understand that during a police investigation, any suspect is innocent until proven guilty with that.
Yes, but that doesn't mean they can't identify you as the suspect that was seen at the scene driving the vehicle that hit people. Like, you're innocent until proven guilty in the legal sense. That doesn't mean they have to literally think, I know this guy's guilty until we get a verdict. He saw you run people over with a car. What the fuck? Occult Comics says, Your Honor, the prosecution has failed to invoke my true name, therefore I'm not subject to your mortal law. I now would like to invoke my right to rob the souls of those in this courtroom, and devour them at my leisure. All glory to the high throne, glory unto my wrath, and may my throne of skulls grow to the heavens as I add your heads to those I have defeated. I rest my case. Respectfully, Your Honor. Atomic Crouton, oh no, wrong person. Marcus Drake says, that is why we're engaging in this shit show, sir. Atomic Crouton, cool name. I like croutons.
Would that be fair to say?
That's correct.
And so with that knowledge, why are you so adamant about
Adamant.
the name of the suspect that you just testified?
Because He's identifying you. He's literally identifying you as the person he shot at. Do you not understand what's even happening right now?
To not being aware of at the time. That you testified to, in fact, being told.
I'm sorry, I'm confused by your question. Can you say it again?
I think it was clear, but I'll say it again.
It wasn't. I get vaguely what he's trying to get across, but he's not explaining himself in a concise and clear manner.
Thank you.
Also, it's just confusing because it's a stupid question to ask. This is going nowhere. At least nowhere good, not for him.
Well, I'll say it this way. You testified to not being aware of the suspect's name at the time.
Correct.
You also testified to being told of the name, correct?
Correct. I don't know how I came about your name. I would assume it was through the investigation at the police department.
And were you, in fact, part of that investigation?
Citosaurus says, Hannah, I think you've done it. I think I might literally be dying of cringe. Congrats. You're the devil. Yes. Finally get real horns.
No, I was not.
So
It's similar to like an angel getting their wings situation, but honestly, horns are a lot more metal and frankly sexy, so thanks.
it would be fair to say that by you using a name, you would not be short. How can you be short?
I'll object.
Ground.
Argumentative.
They're even just laughing. Object argumentative? What is this?
Been asked, it's been answered, it's argumentative, the objection is sustained. Please ask your next question.
When asked about what you
Gabriella,
were aiming
thanks
at
for
when you
following.
fired, you didn't give a definitive answer. You were aiming for the driver?
I felt
It's
like
definitely Twitch. My internet got fixed and everything's looking good on my end in terms of like upload and everything, so the stuttering I think was just Twitch.
I gave a pretty definitive answer. My answer was you,
You
Daryl
were aiming
Brooks.
for the driver.
Yes. It's pretty definitive. I identified the person I
So
was shooting at.
what part of the driver's body could you see when the vehicle passed you?
Probably your head. That's usually the part of people you can see through a window. Like your head, your face, your torso up to a certain extent, depending on the angle he's looking at. I don't know how tall this guy is or how tall the vehicle was.
When the vehicle was approaching me, I could see the silhouette of his face and upper portion of his body.
Can you describe what you mean by silhouette?
The upper portion of a person's body, I would say, from maybe chest, shoulders, and head and face.
You said silhouette, though.
Does this cop not know what a silhouette is? Is he confusing the word silhouette for torso?
What is a silhouette?
The outer portions of what would
Making
be like your shoulder down, your arms to your chest. The silhouette would be the outer portion of it.
That would be the upper half, not the silhouette. What do you mean by silhouette?
It's a silhouette of his torso. Sir, they pulled you out of the car and arrested you on the spot. They know it was you.
The objection is sustained. It's Mr. Brooks is not asking a question. It was argumentative. The jury can certainly decide what that means, but he's answered the question.
Would it be fair to say that that would be equivalent to a profile?
Is he going to use the word profile to say, I've been profiled because you're saying you only saw my profile, not understanding that there are different meanings of the word profile?
What do you mean by a profile?
A profile
This cop knows where it's going.
would be sort of like a side angle view. Would it be fair to say that a silhouette would be more of an outline that would be kind of similar to a profile?
I don't know exactly what you're asking here, but I can tell you when the vehicle was driving towards me, I could see your face, and then as the vehicle drove to my right, yes, then I saw the side of your face. And
Putting the stank on your face.
so then, yes,
This is not a bench trial. There's a jury.
as
This
a
poor
vehicle
fucking
passes
jury.
you, you see different portions of the driver, I guess you could say.
And so you aim towards what you can see.
Correct.
So that would be the upper part, as you say. You said the shoulder. You made I think it was your left hand pointing to your right shoulder, shoulder and up silhouette, as you say.
That is what I could see when you were driving at me. You asked me what I could see of you, and that is what I could see of you in the vehicle when you were approaching me.
The question now, though, is that what you aim for?
I was aiming at you.
What does this have to do with anything? Bittergrin says at least the jury is getting their steps in. It's true, they keep having to go in and out because he's interrupting.
Yes.
At what you can see.
I was aiming at you in the driver's seat. Yes.
This guy is representing himself, and he's doing a terrible job. Which is good, I guess, because, again, he allegedly murdered 6 people, but, you know.
Shoulder, as you pointed to, and up, correct? Would that be fair to say?
Yes.
Firing a weapon of your caliber, would any of those shots be kill shots?
Yes.
Would it be fair to say
I feel like he's improving. He doesn't even know where he's going with this line of questioning. I think he's just meandering through it and hoping he gets like a MacGyver moment. Not MacGyver, sorry, Matlock. He's hoping he gets his Matlock moment where he's like, aha, I caught you. Or, what's his name? The main guy from, Atticus Finch. Get your Atticus Finch moment where you get them to reveal that secretly they did the crime. Citisaurus says, what is this even? I'm going to short circuit.
that
No, I don't think he wants a Boo Radley moment. Guys, I had a little bit of a Boo Radley moment. I made friends with a bunch of children and hid toys in a tree for them. Sorry.
firing a kill shot at anyone with
Speaking of which, To Kill a Mockingbird just came out on 4K. I've heard it's gorgeous in 4K, so.
terrifying?
Sort of something. Thanks for 12 months. Happy anniversary.
I'm sure being shot at is terrifying. Yes, it is.
The audacity of the, like, defendant to be like, is it not scary being shot at? You ran 6 people over and injured, like, 50 people intentionally, and you're worried about people feeling sorry for you for being scared for being shot at? For doing these things and to try and stop you from hurting more people?
So it'd be fair to say you were shooting to kill.
Probably.
So would it be fair to say that, judging based on what you see, that you testified to a silhouette?
This has got to be like the quickest, whenever they go to deliberate, this is going to be the quickest deliberation in the history of deliberations. They're going to go in there and talk for half an hour and come right back out. And to be clear, the half an hour is probably just to like, we're back here, I guess, should we go over the evidence? And everyone will be in agreement. Yes, he did it, obviously. There's literally video and photos.
From about here that you pointed to, from the shoulder, using your left hand, you pointed at your right shoulder from here up. And you just acknowledged that any one of those 3 shots could have been kill shots. Would it be fair to say that you were aiming to kill? Shooting to kill, rather. Not aiming to kill, but shooting to kill.
No.
So, in your estimate, what do you think you would have hit if you just testified to saying that you aimed at
Torso somewhere? You can disable someone without killing them with a gunshot. Like, everywhere in your chest isn't an immediate kill. even if you get shot in the heart, it's not an immediate kill necessarily. It still takes a little bit depending on where you get hit. MH Darkbeast says, if they were kill shots and I'm not dead, clearly it wasn't me. Case closed.
The driver, what were you estimating the hit?
Well, my intention was to shoot you in the upper portion of the body. However, my intention was not to kill you. My intention was to stop the threat that you were posing to everyone in the downtown area at the Christmas parade.
I honestly thought he was going to say there, while you were running people over, but that would have been... I guess it's not like the guy knows to object, so he probably wouldn't have objected. Objection, conclusory. Connection, Connectome by Polybius. For what it's worth, there is a Wikipedia article about this incident. Yeah. Simple Cockerel says, at this point, I'm surprised this dumbass hasn't pleaded insanity yet. He's been cleared. He's competent to stand trial, and he's not insane. Don't get me wrong. Clearly, colloquially, there's something weird about him. He's got some sort of personality disorder, in my opinion. But it's nothing that would preclude him from being able to be put on trial. At least I don't think so. Atheist Brony says, one of the jurors is currently placing an Uber Eats order and place it before deliberation begins. They'll be home by the time the restaurant finishes cooking it. Jeeba Hawk says, I was just trying to hit you in the upper torso. With a link.
Boom headshot! Boom headshot!
And Okie Dad says, he isn't insane, but he is stubborn and stupid, which is sometimes scarier. Vinny Sayathoff, thanks for 13 months.
Referring to the you again. Well, that's not a question, so. By your estimation, acknowledging that those were kill shots, if you connected with any of those shots, is it possible the driver could have been killed?
Yes.
Is he under the impression anyone cares? Sir, you are being shot at. This is like the incident where I'm okay with cops shooting at you. This is like the one thing. You are actively trying to harm other people. You are in the act of murdering and injuring other people. That is a situation where the cops can shoot you, and I don't even feel bad. And trust me, that's hard to do. I have a very high bar for cops pulling out their guns and shooting someone. This specific instance, yeah, as long as they were being careful to not, like, hit people around, yeah.
And would it be fair to say that that's deadly force?
Yes.
Do you think it would have been possible to aim at the tire of the vehicle?
No.
That would make it go out of control even more, and it would just probably injure more people. And there's still a danger of that shooting at you, but I think it would be less than if you were to shoot the tire. Also harder to hit a tire, I would think. Especially since you were coming towards him, so I assume he had a clear shot towards you, but probably the tires were on the side, and as you were swinging around, probably harder to hit.
Why not? With shooting the tire of the vehicle not?
It wouldn't disable it. You can drive on a flat. It's not like you were worried about damage to your vehicle. You were using it as a weapon.
Stop the vehicle?
No, it would not have.
Does he think this works on GTA rules?
So a blown tire would, to your estimation, a blown tire would not stop a vehicle from moving?
One? Absolutely not. Have you ever blown a tire? You can keep going. It'll just destroy your rim. Eventually it'll become a problem, but if you didn't care and you were just in a situation like this guy, where you're committing a crime and using your vehicle as a weapon, why would it stop you? You can drive on the rims. You don't care. MH Darkbeast says, is it just me, or does this cop look like TJ Kirk, aka the Amazing Atheist? Let me look at him.
No.
A little. Just kind of got that white guy with a big beard thing going on.
No, it will not.
So it'll just keep on. It won't even slow down?
That is correct. I'm trained to stop the threat. You were the threat. The vehicle was not. The vehicle was the weapon in which you used.
Yep.
So that is why I shot at you.
There's the you again. Pretty clever.
He's allowed to identify you.
Um,
He literally saw you. He is allowed to speak to things he witnessed. He witnessed you doing this. He can say that. That's allowed. That's not like he's acting like, ooh, you're saying it's me. That's scummy. No, it's not. Witnesses are allowed to talk about things they witnessed.
could you have, well, you testify that you're trying to stop the threat. And so, would it be fair to say that that training constitutes shooting kill shots?
Well, we are trained in deadly force, and when we are presented with a deadly force incident, yes, we have to sometimes make that difficult decision and use deadly force.
Have you ever used deadly force before that incident?
Objection.
Grounds.
Sustained.
You said you're trained to use deadly force. So would it be fair to say that anytime you shoot your weapon, it would be deadly force?
I think that's just general gun handling safety. You don't point your gun at anything you don't plan to destroy or kill. Like, that's like rule number one. Like, every gun is loaded. Never point guns at things you don't intend to destroy. I've never even been a big gun person, but growing up in Michigan, I've been around family members who hunt regularly and guns, and I've shot guns before. It's like a basic rule. Yes, every time you point a gun at something, much less fire it, you should assume it can kill. They're dangerous, dangerous weapons that you need to handle with a lot of respect and responsibility. Ashiboo says, is he trying to argue a police brutality attempted murder accusation? That's what it feels like. I think that's what he's going for. It's obviously not going to work, so I don't know why he's trying.
When it is directed at a person, yes.
Were you injured in any way during the incident?
No, I was not.
And at the time, being where you were positioned at, you've already testified that you could not see what was going on during the parade route from your position. So, why did you feel the need at the time, not knowing the full extent of what was happening, to use deadly force?
Because as I previously stated, based on the fact that the radio traffic for people screaming for ambulances, and as different officers were getting on the radio, and it was progressively moving further and further westbound towards me on the parade route, that, and then officers saying someone was hit, which I initially thought was a physical altercation, someone being hit, but it was a vehicle versus person hit. Based on that, the vehicle speed at which, yes, I could not see it down Main Street. I only had a couple seconds at most until the vehicle from where I saw it was to my location. So based on the amount of vehicle damage, I knew the vehicle...
How have we only been going for an hour? That's crazy. Today's going really slow.
...had been striking pedestrians in the roadway, and because of that...
Amethyst 1989, thanks for following. I love your name. I love the color purple. If you can't tell from my box and other things.
...incident, so that is why I deployed deadly force.
Going longer 'cause you had D&D.
Yeah, I had D&D earlier today, and it was 4 hours long.
So you said you knew.
Been sitting in front of the computer all day.
Hello.
You knew with
Who's this guy? He allegedly ran over a bunch of people, killed 6 at a Christmas parade.
Vehicle had you
And he's defending himself, and it's going badly.
knew. You said it multiple times. You knew.
Yes.
How could you know if you could not see
Hello, Father.
around the position that you were positioned in? How do you know that?
Because based on the speed of a vehicle...
Someone next door, sneezing.
Yeah, that's so weird.
Windows open.
On a closed roadway during
Sounded like a dad sneeze.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It had that specific dad sneeze sound.
Oh yeah.
a parade, and people running out of the way so they did not get run over right in front of me. Between all of those things,
Is there any chance you, once Cass is done drinking, because I don't want you to scare her away, would you pop that window open so we can get kind of a breeze? It's warm up here.
I knew.
What Baja Blast flavor did you become after the wedding? The hot Cheeto flavored one? Is that a thing? I don't know why I asked you, as if you're an actual authority on Mountain Dew.
I have no idea.
You're named after it, don't you know?
What had just happened, and that is why I had
No, I didn't dye my hair.
to take action.
Probably just the camera, the lighting. Like, the settings on the camera and how it looks changes a lot depending on the camera settings, as
Yeah.
well as the lighting.
Why does it look purple? Oh, it looks purple because of the lights. It's, like bouncing off.
You're getting a purple top light.
Yeah.
A
No.
top light creates a rim, sort of, around you
Yeah.
for filming stuff, and that light is purple. So she looks like she has a purple rim light.
And you knew based on the radio reports.
I would say everything that I had just previously described, all of that encompassing, yes, that led up to my decision making into yes, now I knew what had happened. I did not know previous to that what was going on. I did not know there was a vehicle on the roadway until I saw it. And it all made sense when I put everything together.
When you saw it, by the
Hannah needs a bottom light. Funny. Here's my bottom light. Is it spooky? Should we just do a whole stream like this and I'll just read you guys scary stories? That hurt my
time
eyes.
you saw it, as you said, it was a couple of seconds. So at that point, did you observe the vehicle strike anyone from the time that you saw it?
No, I did not. I was focused on the vehicle, so I just remember that there were a ton of little kids and adults on the sidewalks. I knew there were a lot of children right in the road.
They're just in their backyard doing stuff, I think.
It just
I
like
know it
the
sounds-
sound is
I
bouncing
know.
between the
Yeah.
houses. It sounds like it's literally happening outside
Yeah.
the window.
Hats off, cruelty. What would you like me to wear?
Way right there, and I remember seeing people like running, but I wasn't really paying attention to the people. I was just focused
Anything
on
but
the
this. It's
vehicle.
making me hot.
So
That
you-
was really all I was focused on at that point.
You weren't paying attention to any other people. You
Witch's hat. Ugh, that's gonna be warm. Okay. Could you open that?
Yeah.
What's his end goal here? I think he's trying to get the cop to make it seem like some sort of racially motivated incident, which isn't gonna work because he actually murdered a bunch of people.
That was not my primary focus.
Yeah, just on one. Thanks.
But you do recall that no one was struck from the time you saw the vehicle.
Sir, you were driving through a parade. We can tell what you're doing.
Yes, after looking back, after videos later on throughout the
No,
investigation.
no. From what you saw, from which you observed with your own eyes.
No, I can't recall ever seeing someone hit right in front of me. No, I do not recall that.
Does the exhibit videos that you saw here today, does anyone get struck in those videos that you saw today?
No, not that I saw today.
And you still made the decision to shoot to kill?
Am I excited for Trump's testimony? No, I think it's gonna be a nightmare. He's just gonna talk around things. It's gonna be annoying.
That's correct. Actually, correction, I shot to stop the threat. If ultimately you would have been killed from that, that is a possible outcome.
But you did
What was this guy's motive for driving through a parade? I don't know. I really don't. I don't know what his reason was. Hydrate.
testify that they were kill shots. Did you not?
Sustained. It's also been asked and answered in multiple ways. At
Do
this
you
point.
recall what your shots hit? If anything?
Yes. Later on, throughout the investigation, when I gave
No, at
my...
the time. At the time.
Which parade? A Christmas parade in Minnesota.
Not
I don't
later
remember
on.
the
At
city.
the time where you fired the shots.
Mr. Brooks, you asked a question. He was attempting to answer it, so you have to
I
let.
was trying to give him clarification on what I mean.
But you have to let him answer the question that you asked, and if you feel the need for follow-up, then you can do that, or ask a very specific question. But I'm allowing him
The
to.
Wikipedia article goes through a motive. Let's see. Suspect. On the same day as the... I don't even know if how do I pronounce this? The town. I don't want to screw it up. Police recovered a damaged Ford Escape and arrested 39-year-old Darrell Edward Brooks Jr., a man with an extensive criminal record. He'd been arrested 21 days prior to the Waukesha. Okay, Waukesha. 21 days prior to the Waukesha attack for hitting his ex-girlfriend with the same vehicle during a domestic dispute. The charges against him for that case included second-degree recklessly endangering safety with domestic abuse assessments, a felony, as well as disorderly conduct with domestic abuse assessments, misdemeanor battery with domestic abuse assessments, and obscuring an officer. Obstructing an officer. He posted a $1,000 bail on November 13th, 2 days before the Waukesha attack was released. Brooks also has a warrant for a sex crime in Nevada. Oh my god. Brooks was arrested the night of the attack, soon after telling a Waukesha resident that he was homeless and waiting for an Uber. The man was unaware of the events that had occurred and had left Brooks into his home. Brooks had initially been charged with 5 counts of first-degree intentional homicide. Following the death of a 6th victim, Brooks' bond was set at $5 million. Let's see. It's believed the driver acted alone and did not know anyone at the parade. Police are investigating whether Brooks may have been fleeing from a nearby domestic disturbance when encountering the parade. The police chief said, "We've information that the suspect prior to the incident was involved in a domestic disturbance, which just minutes prior, and the suspect left that scene just prior to arrival to that domestic disturbance." He also said Brooks was not being chased by police when he drove into the parade route. Prosecutors have alleged that Brooks was trying to strike and hurt as many people as possible. Very strange. Brooks had a history of social media posts advocating for violence against white people and Jews. Brooks was reported to have posted the phrase, quote, "Hitler knew who the real Jews were," end quote, and "Hitler was right," end quote, on Facebook. He's a black Israelite. Conspiracy theories strike again. During his amateur rap career, Brooks rapped about being a terrorist and a killer in the city. Expressed many anti-Semitic beliefs and opinions. Conspiratorial black nationalist and anti-Semite. That's a shame.
Answer. He was interrupted. Go ahead.
I believe it was 3 days after the incident. That is when I gave my voluntary statement to Detective Kirby and Detective Casey, and upon completion of that statement, I asked them if they could share any information with me, and during that conversation I was shown a picture of the vehicle and where my round struck the vehicle.
You stated you asked them for any additional information that they could give you. So it would be fair to say at that time you still didn't have a lot of information. Would it be fair to say that?
That is correct. I didn't know where my rounds had struck.
Alright, I think that's enough of this guy for right now. Let's get into some other SovSit stuff, shall we? Oh, that's still open. Whoops. How about this one?
To get started.
He
And
yells at the judge, I believe.
And to get started, Judge, I would like you to state for the public record, one, who you swear your oath to, and where you derive your authority from.
Lovely. It's an Australian sovereign citizen.
Yeah.
Ryan, this is the local court in session. Sorry, Mr. Dawson, this is the local court in session. This is an application brought before this court for determination by this court. I'm an acting judge of this local court and authorized to make a determination of proceedings brought before it, and I intend to do so now.
Yes, you also need to answer my question.
He thinks Australia is run by the U.S. It's not an uncommon sovereign citizen belief, especially if you're in another country other than America, because a lot of the Canadian, UK, and Australian sovereign citizens get their talking points from the United States, because sovereign citizenship, most of the beliefs originated here in the States. So it's a common sovereign citizen belief in the United States that America is secretly a private corporation and not a governmental entity. So people from other countries have just gone on to say, well, our country isn't really a country either. It's another corporation that is under the United States corporation. It's a whole conspiracy thing.
And actually,
Thank you, Mr. Dawson.
tell the public where you derive your authority from and who you swear your oath to.
A corporation.
Okay, Mr. Dawson, if you just take a seat now, please, and I'll proceed with my
No, not until you tell the people of the public where you
can you hear us?
swear your oath to.
Mr. Howard, I'm sorry. Okay, you're appearing for the applicant in these proceedings. I'm in a position to proceed and hand down my decision.
No, you're not. You're not in the position to proceed in this at all.
If there's anything that you wish to take issue with following my determination, there are appeal processes.
No. See, you don't actually have the authority now. See that coat of arms that sits behind you? You do not represent that.
True.
Are you finished?
And I have the facts. And I have the proof. I have the evidence. And I wish to table it for the public record.
Mr. Dawson, this court made orders on the 30th of August that both you and the...
This court is fraudulent.
File and serve all evidence in which you intend to rely by 12 noon on the...
In my affidavit, it states, I will table my evidence on the day of court, which is my God-given right.
I'll deal with the matter, and if you just have a seat now.
No, you're not dealing with the matter because you don't have the authority to deal with the matter.
Well, Mr. Dawson, if you don't remain quiet now...
Last time you said they couldn't hear me. So I don't stand under your authority.
Mr. Dawson, if you're going to talk across, mate...
Well, you need to answer the questions and tell the public record who you derive your authority from and who you represent
if you have a seat,
and who you swear your oath to.
If you, Mr. Dawson, have a seat, please.
If there was an IRL film showing a sovereign citizen in a court case, do you think it would be a comedy or drama about crazy people? I'd love to see a drama about, like, some courtroom thing where someone's a sovereign citizen. Like, I think the tone of, like, The Death of Stalin, if you've seen that movie, would be good for a sovereign citizen movie. Like, it takes a relatively serious subject matter and makes a farce out of it. Like, there's still dark stuff in there, but it's completely surrounded by the ridiculousness of the situation.
No, not at all. Because I have the actual evidence and facts that you're corrupt and you do not represent the Australian people.
Well, any more allegations like that, Mr. Dawson, I'll have you removed from the court and as being a person...
See, because there's three laws. God's law, maritime law, and contract law. And I stand under God's law.
Mr. Dawson, are you going to sit down, please, and remain quiet while I deliver...
Are you going to let the public know who you derive your authority from, and who you swear your oath to.
I'm going to ask you one more time, Mr. Johnson. Are you going to sit down, please, and just remain quiet while I hand out my decision? And you, as I said,
What do you got to hide?
if you would just please sit down, let me hand out my decision on this matter. And
No, because I don't accept
whatever
it.
steps you wish to take.
Because you are fraudulent. You have no authority.
Well, Mr. Dawson, if you keep interrupting like this and not enabling the court to do its business, I'll have to have
You're a fraudulent, corrupt institution of the fake Australian government.
Mr. Dawson, please.
And I have all the stuff here. And I wish to table it for the public record.
This is a tenancy application. I don't receive it like that. This is a tenancy application under Section 131 of the Business Tenancy Fair Dealings Act of 2003.
Oh, good. He gets kicked out soon.
Which is all fraudulent.
I just want to see when he gets kicked out.
That you are fraudulent.
I'm going to adjourn the court.
You're not able to record in the courtroom.
There is no order because it's corrupt.
We're not under the law.
Court, he has bailed ship.
Kitty, dress.
The judge has bailed ship.
Please leave the court.
Corrupt fucking assholes.
Yeah, they're the fucking assholes, not you.
Well, the judge has left the ship.
Yeah, he's bailed.
The case has been closed. The judge has left the ship.
Apparently they think the courtroom is a ship, and they think if the judge leaves, they automatically win. Not how that works.
Case has been closed. This is where Boxer can state his terms and conditions, because the judge has left the ship. The ship has been abandoned. The judge has left the ship.
You can't use that in the courtroom.
We're going. We're allowed to.
Let do anything. It's my right.
Okay.
And who are you? Are you a security guard, are you? Don't touch me.
So you can.
Do not force.
Fucking nutballs. Alright, what else we got?
Going to do both of these together. I mean, they're the same motions from the people. They have slightly different fact patterns, and they have two different lawyers. So whatever you guys want to do. But what do you want to do?
There's no objection from Mrs. Grady L, Your Honor, to doing both together. It makes sense, I think.
Yes, Provia Star on behalf of Mr. Daniel Grady L. Yeah, no objection to doing this all together.
All right. And Mr. and Mrs. Grady L, can you hear us?
That's fine.
Yes.
All right. So let's start with, let me get the attorney appearances first. So, Ms. Palapu, is this your appearance today? All right.
Yes, Your Honor. Good afternoon. Melissa Palapu on behalf of the people.
All right. And we have Mr. Starr's appearance. Mr. Amadeo, your appearance?
Good afternoon, Your Honor. William Amadeo, P76194, on behalf of Shatina Grady L. We both appear via Zoom and waive a right to be present in person. And Judge, I do think Prosecutor Wint's on as well on this matter.
Thanks, Mr.
Oh, yes.
Amadeo.
Ms. Tucker is here. I'm sorry. Yes.
That's okay, Your Honor. Good afternoon, Your Honor. Assistant Attorney General Yasmin Tucker appearing on behalf of the people.
All right. Ms. Grady L, tell us your name for the record.
My appellation is Shatina Grady L.
Okay. And Mr. Grady L, do you want to tell us your name for the record?
My appellation is Daniel Grady L.
Okay. I mean, okay, I'll bite. That's fine with me. Appellation is a little unusual, but I'll go with it. So, all right, today is the date and time set for the people's motions to admit, acts of prior motion, more 404B motions. So that's in the biz. Notice and a motion in limine to admit prior acts. I've had a chance to review the motions and the responses and the briefs. I'm happy to hear from either Ms. Palapu or Ms. Tucker highlights again, you don't need to repeat, but I'm happy to hear your oral argument, and then I'll hear a response from Mr. Amadeo and from Mr. Starr. Okay?
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, I'm not going to go back and repeat everything that I had previously written. You did have all the facts regarding the prior conduct, and you have my motion with all of the law. I would just like to make a little response in regards to the defendant's motions themselves. In regards to Mr. Daniel Gradiel's motion response, I just wanted to also state that during that response, there was no statement of defendant's theory of the case in regarding in order to back his argument that these acts would not be relevant. In order to say that, you would need to state his theory of case to show that they are not relevant. And in fact, that there was no statement or theory of the case that was provided. I would just like to reiterate that the people do intend to admit this evidence to show that there was an absence of mistake or confusion as to what was occurring at the scene, or confusion of the officer's commands, that there was to demonstrate the intention to obstruct, which goes with the absence of the mistake or the confusion, and to rebut any argument of the defense to the contrary of those statements. In regards to my response to Ms. Shatina Gradiel's response.
So let me interrupt.
Yes.
So while we're on Mr. Gradiel's motion, I just want to be clear that the prior incident that you are seeking to have admitted is that that 2019 incident, correct?
Yes,
there's a slight difference between the two defendants. One is the 2019, Mr. Gradiel is singularly that 2019 incident, while Ms. Gradiel includes both the 2019 incident plus another one, correct? I just want to. Okay.
Yeah. Yes,
right.
Your Honor. It would just be that one incident for Mr.
So
Gradiel.
let's do this one at a time. So let's go ahead and I'll hear from Mr. Starr. If you wish to respond to what the prosecutor has just stated on the record or anything else, you may do so. But I have reviewed everything. So go ahead.
Yeah. So first is to my alleged facts. It's clear, and I do provide some basis here as to my client and why, if the 404B
I want to hear from the
were
more citizens.
Hey, he's acting in.
Sir,
I didn't turn my video off, Judge.
No, your client.
Oh, I apologize. I didn't know that.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Starr.
Where was I? This would violate my client's due process right to a fair trial, because it shifts the focus from the events of that night to, well, what are their beliefs?
Did they ever talk through this whole thing? Why did they even upload this?
As well as...
All right, I'm over this one, because the more citizens don't even talk. Sad face. All right. Let's do a traffic stop.
Hi there. Yep. Hey, I'm Officer Kennedy. Remember quickly say earlier, no conversations being recorded, okay?
Yes, it is.
The reason for the stop today is that I noticed your tags are expired. Do you have your license on now? Good. Is that a firearm under your jacket? Don't reach for it, just answer it.
Oh, she's frustrated.
I don't know. I'm asking if it's a firearm, so if you reach for it, we have issues.
It is.
You're supposed to, especially if it's a concealed firearm, you're supposed to immediately, when you get, an officer comes up, you're supposed to say, with your hands, ideally showing, officer, just letting you know I have a concealed firearm with a permit. If you'd like to take it for the rest of this stop, they normally will take it, or have you put it on the dash if they're feeling nice. Hands on the wheel.
Okay, don't ever reach for it, okay?
Oh, she's got a sassy attitude.
Will you do me a favor? I'd like to remove that from you.
I would rather remove it myself.
Okay, you're not going to do that. You're not going to put a firearm in your hand. Okay, so just hear me out. Stop talking. Just let me explain, okay? It's for my safety. I don't mean any harm to you.
Excuse me, but it's about my safety.
Okay, I'm not going to hurt you, nor am I putting off an intimidating
Well, I'm not going to
listen.
hurt you.
This is what I would like to do, okay? All I would like you to do is cross your fingers like this, put your hand on your head, and I'd like to just grab it and take it out. I'm not going to seize it or anything like that.
He's got something written on his hand.
My weapon outside of my vehicle.
Where's your ID?
I do not want my weapon outside of the vehicle.
Where is your
I
ID?
am willing to put my weapon on the dash so that you can clearly
Do not
see it.
touch that gun.
Fine.
Okay.
Then it'll
I'll
see
tell you
where
what.
it's at.
Put the paperwork on the dash for me. Put the paperwork on the dash.
Why?
Because I'm telling you to. And it's a lawful order. Put the paperwork on the dash now and put your hands on the steering wheel.
If she wasn't white, this would not be going as well for her.
Don't move them. Okay? You're being confrontational. You have a firearm. We're not going to play that game. I'm going to get your name, date of birth, and I'm going to continue my traffic stop. Do you understand that?
I think I'll just plead the fifth.
That's fine. I recommend that. Well, if you're not going to plead the fifth, you're going to need to present me with an ID. Can you point to where your ID is?
No, sir. You told me to put my
I
hands
did,
on the steering
but you
wheel.
told me you were going to plead the fifth, which means you're not going to talk anymore. Okay, if you're not going to talk, you can't tell me your name and your date of birth. Does that make sense? So will you tell me your name and date of birth?
Not until I present this paperwork.
Okay. 3216. Can I get another unit? I'm going to get my chief down here for you.
Okay.
Keep your hands right where they're at.
He's like, I can smell the Karen energy. I'm just gonna call the boss's boss's boss. Let's just get this over with.
I will keep them there as long as I can.
Okay. Perfect. They need to remain there and your hand needs to stay away from them.
And I already told you, I will keep them there as long as I can. This is not exactly a comfortable position.
That's how, I mean, you can fucking draw, like, what? You're just doing this? It's not even like you have to support him. You can put your weight of it on the steering wheel.
Not yet. Female's verbally uncooperative.
I am not uncooperative. I am simply answering you without mine.
Not at this time.
See,
is that
you guys
Phi Mason?
always do
Thanks for
that.
following.
You guys always make something up that isn't there.
What did I make up today, ma'am?
You're saying I'm being confrontational. I'm not being confrontational.
Okay, maybe let me use a different word.
He said uncooperative, I believe.
Argumentative.
Something
Well,
like that. That
maybe
sounds about right.
argumentative, but I'd say so are you, because you're not getting everything you want exactly when you want it.
Yeah, because I gotta survive every contact, and
I
I'm gonna
understand
get
that.
what I want when there's a firearm involved.
You know what?
It's gonna happen.
I'm sorry, but it's the police that have proved themselves to be unreliable.
Oh yeah? Have you ever met
Not untrue.
me before?
Yes, I
You've
have.
met me. Where did you meet me?
Matter of fact, really doesn't matter.
Okay, so you haven't met me, so therefore you have no idea whether I'm reliable or not.
All I know is you're wearing a monkey suit.
A monkey suit? I believe it's a police uniform and a badge. But that's fine. I get what you're trying to do. You're mad at the badge, not at me. I'm just trying to go
I
home
don't
every day.
trust the badge.
Okay, you don't have to trust me, but not that I don't trust you, I can't trust you because I don't know you. Okay, I stop hundreds
Okay.
and I stop hundreds,
Weird
possibly
that he
thousands
doesn't
of
understand that doesn't cut, that should cut both ways, right? Again, what she's doing isn't right and isn't going to help her, but also he expects her to trust him, but doesn't expect the same back.
people every year, and I have to survive each of those contacts for a duration of 25 years.
I understand that.
I know how to do that, and I know how I want people to react if they do have a firearm, and so that's what I go off of, okay?
And I was willing to compromise with you, but you're not willing to compromise. You want it
What
your
is the
way.
compromise?
I am willing to put it on the dash, or even to allow you to put it on the dash. I am
I
not
would like to do that.
willing to allow you to remove it from my vehicle.
Okay, I can work with you on that a little bit. If I'm going to put it on your dash, I'm going to unload it first.
That's fine.
Okay, will you put your hands on your head with your fingers crossed so I can remove it from you? Thank you. I appreciate that.
Is that like a purple little 6-shooter?
Any other firearms with you?
No.
It's cute.
Can I put my hands down now?
Yes, ma'am. If you could keep them at least visible, that would be wonderful.
Now, can I begin going over this paperwork with me that you're going to thoroughly disagree with me on anyway?
I'm not saying I'm going to disagree with you. It may be legitimate, okay?
It is legitimate.
Okay.
I've done
Well, that's
my
fine.
research on my own.
Once I get this done, we'll move on with the rest of the stop.
It would have been a lot easier just to push the deal.
twist. She doesn't have a concealed firearms permit, and she's gonna get arrested.
You don't get to the
That's my prediction.
side how things go. Okay, I'm all about respecting you and trying to work with you.
I was trying to be helpful.
You were not. I was asking you to do something, and you were refusing to.
I was talking about with getting the bullets out of the gun. I was just trying. Look, it would have been easier and faster to get the bullets out if you'd have pushed the release.
Okay.
That's all I was trying to say.
Before that, I was giving you a lawful order, and you were refusing to obey that. For personal feelings, I understand that. You did not prefer it that way. But there's times during a traffic stop or an interaction with police, you have to set your personal opinion or feelings aside to obey a lawful order.
You put my weapon on my dash.
Afterwards.
No.
Correct.
You
After I told you
to put my weapon.
Okay, we're gonna stop this. I'm gonna wait for the
dash.
chief. We'll go from there. I'm gonna put it on the dash now. You need to not reach for it, and I'm gonna put it on that side. Will you roll that window down?
I have to turn.
Just turn it to the on. Yeah, accelerator on. That's fine.
Oh my god, she doesn't have a hood on her car! Wow. Is it legal to drive without a hood on your car?
Actually, I'm gonna hold it here until the chief's here. Okay, where's your identification at?
I can just wait for your chief.
Fine with me. Ma'am, is there a reason that you're being difficult? I'm trying to give you every opportunity to...
Quite honestly, I don't feel like repeating myself. And if I go through all this with you...
Look, I don't like being pulled over either. It hasn't happened a ton to me, right? But I fucking deal with it. And even though I have certain feelings on cops and that I feel like there should be, like, major reforms in policing and how police work and everything in this country... It doesn't really have a bearing on how I interact with that individual cop, specifically because my goal in any interaction with a cop is to get through it as quickly and safely as possible. I'm not bringing my politics into this. I'm just gonna, It's not worth it. Don't get into confrontations with specific cops. Not how this works. Baha, what would you like me to wear? Probably flower crown, because you mentioned it earlier.
Then I have to go over it yet again with the chief.
Okay.
I don't feel like repeating myself.
Okay.
So, I am not refusing to identify. I am simply requesting that you take into account that there's more to it than maybe even what you know. I know, you're an officer and you think you know all the laws. Sorry, but nobody knows all the laws.
I've never claimed to.
I would certainly hope not, because I feel bad for anybody that has to...
Hydrate.
So, Chief, will you roll that window down for the chief so we can hear everything that's being said? So, I have the firearm now. It's clear from her. So, essentially, approached. I know she had the firearm on her hip. Not a big deal. I asked her if it was a firearm that she point at it or tell me instead of reaching it. She reached for it. Anyway, I asked her to put her hands on her head so I could remove it from her and take it back to my vehicle to secure it during the rest of the stop because she's mildly argumentative. She refused to do that. We ended up coming to a compromise. She let me take it off her and unload it. So it's been a bit of a confrontation.
Ender 92 says, fake leftist Hannah confirmed, not actively fighting cops on site.
I asked her for a license multiple times. She said she wouldn't give it until you got here, so that's where we're at. So can I have your license?
I don't want to repeat myself.
Okay, can I have your license, please?
Just real quick, man. Just so you know, my name's Chief. Just so you know, I got my camera going.
Okay. I've got my camera recording as well. Okay. Now, as I told you before I relinquish my information, I am going to go over this paperwork.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay? Which, of course, is not in order. I promise this was in order when I put it.
Is it not in order?
I do want you to know it's the right of the citizen to travel upon the public highways and to transport
Oh, she's doing the thing.
property thereon by horse-drawn carriage, wagon, or automobile is not a mere privilege which may be permitted or prohibited at will.
At will. Again, we've read that court decision on this channel. First of all, it was a state Supreme Court decision, which only applied to that state. Second of all, at will, that doesn't mean you can't create a standardized test. The problem with that particular lawsuit was the fact that a sheriff of a local town was giving driver's licenses specifically to people he liked and denying them to people he didn't like. This is like the 1930s, so driver licenses weren't done by the state. Individual communities could decide to use them. So that's court case determined that the sheriff was wrong for doing that. You can set up a standardized test, which is what we have now in the United States. In every state, you take a driver's test, and that determines it. It's not just based on sussing out who you are. That's what that court case did. Again, in the specific state that was in. That is not a national Supreme Court decision. That is a state Supreme Court decision. Okie Dad says, what bugs me the most about Sovsits is that they refuse to acknowledge that laws can change over time. And Simple Cat Girl says, man, the level of entitlement and balls on this woman to argue with a police officer. I was literally trembling with tears when we, on a golf cart, were pulled over by a cop in Key West because I was sitting on the lap of my friend so that all of us can fit on the golf cart. I couldn't imagine arguing with the cop as he asks me to get off and show my ID, even though many other people were cramped in other golf carts. Note, I'm black and I had to sit on the sidewalk for a bit. Oh, God.
But a common right, which he has.
Here's a pro tip. Don't enter Florida.
Under his right to life,
Never enter Florida.
liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Under this constitutional guarantee.
Ender 92 says, do you think the government will ever address this specifically so they have just a single court case to point to? Not intentionally. There are already court cases regarding, like, the legality of driver's licenses, and it's been affirmed that the states have the right to do that.
One may, therefore, under normal conditions, travel at his inclination along the public highways or in public places, and while conducting himself in an orderly and decent manner, neither interfering with nor disturbing another's rights. He will be protected, not only in his person, but in his safe conduct. And I can give you where to find that if you would like.
If we don't need to, the U.S. Supreme Court has already squashed that, so...
No, the U.S. Supreme Court has not.
Yes, they have.
Nuh-uh. What a defense. Chromatic Cuttlefish says, for someone guaranteed the pursuit of happiness, she seems pretty unhappy.
You have a right to travel, you have a...
But she's pursuing it. And Simple Cat Girl says, take it from a Floridian. Don't go to Key West. It ain't worth it.
Right to travel by your feet or your horse, but you have to have a driver's license.
No, you do not.
Okay, we can argue this later, so you need to provide the officer with your driver's license or you will be arrested for failure to carry and present.
For what crime?
Failed to carry and present a driver's license. It's a Class C misdemeanor in the state of Oregon.
Without a crime, it is not a failure.
But you have to let go of it. You have to present
Why do...
it to
Why do I have to let go of it? I presented it. You can see it.
Do you have a concealed handgun license with you?
Is it gonna happen?
No.
Fuck! Is that a misdemeanor or is that a felony? Is it a felony to have a concealed firearm without a license?
Okay. Do you have insurance for the vehicle?
Not required.
Oh boy. Driving without a registration, insurance, or license while wielding an unregistered concealed firearm. That's gonna be a fun trial.
Good. Whether you feel it's required or not, do you have insurance information? Yes or no?
No.
Okay. Do you have registration information? Whether it's required in your opinion or not, do you have...
I don't know if it's here in the car or not.
Okay, so you just don't know. Okay, that's fine. I'll be back. What do you mean?
It's like breaking up.
Yeah, it's in my pocket. It's gonna.
Well, you're citing what you think.
32, 16, 10, and 20 by ODL.
And so, if it's constitutionally sound, that's what a court's for. And that's why
924 2642 last of green.
The original court rule.
At some point, I'm likely going to give this back to her, but I want to do that.
Hex encounter. Thanks for following. I'm going to skip ahead to when they interact again.
Suspended violation. Ones I could see, there might be a third that dropped one. What was
I knew you guys were. Maybe she was getting gripey with you. That's about it.
That looks like this guy's just here for a ride along or something.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, she's got a Jesus fish. Render unto Caesar, bitch. Jesus said it.
This is the deal, okay? You need to step out of the vehicle because you're being placed under arrest for carrying a concealed firearm.
You're placing me under arrest for a concealed firearm.
Yes, ma'am.
Can I ask what
Ulvin Aspiration says Jesus fish? You don't know about Jesus fish? Jesus fish. This fish, if you ever see this fish, it's a Christian thing. This is a Christian symbol. Like, prior to the crucifix, the cross being like the symbol of Christianity, the fish symbol was a symbol of Christianity and still is. It's just that crosses became the more predominant one.
Okay, well, you're carrying a concealed firearm, and that's a crime in Oregon.
Ma'am, do you recall I asked you if that was a gun underneath your jacket?
And I said yes.
Okay, so by me not being able to tell whether it was a gun or not, it was not in open plain view, right? Okay, so it would have been concealed if I can't tell that it's a gun.
You could obviously see the butt of it.
If you got your sweatshirt covering that gun, it's concealed. An open carry is open carry, nothing obstructing the firearm or the holster that it's in.
So had it been on the dash or like flat on the passenger seat?
Or had it been on your side without a sweatshirt covering it, that's not concealed. But you have it under clothing, that's concealed.
And additionally,
I mean, they're not. I get what you're saying, but you literally concealed the firearm. You needed to either take the sweater off or put the gun, preferably unload it, and then set it next to you. I don't understand this like need to carry around a gun with you all the time either. Kind of creeps me the fuck out. Again, let me be clear. I'm not against people owning guns. I'm not even telling you that you should or shouldn't do something with them. I just think carrying them around everywhere with you is a bit fucking insecure. I think that's weird. I get it if you have it for home defense or hunting or whatever, but like, you need to carry a gun around you everywhere? That sounds like a shitty country. Damn. Like, even if it was like, I don't know, just on the hip. Very weird to me. Very weird. H. Baird says, and especially, like, if you're gonna carry it around with you, get a concealed carry permit. Just get one, if you're gonna carry it around with you. H. Baird says, the Greek word for fish is Ishthus, which was an acronym for Jesus Christos Theos Union Sotor. In English, that translates to Jesus Christ, Son of God, Savior. Ah, that makes sense.
It's also a crime to present me with a driver's license knowing that it's suspended. I see you were convicted of driving while suspended in late December of 2021, which was only a few months ago. Additionally, you haven't been reinstated at all since then, so there's a pretty good inclination that you knew you were suspended and knew that license was not.
Suspended license and an unregistered concealed firearm. No registration, no insurance. This is not going to be good for her.
Well, that's also a crime in the state of Oregon.
You're making assumptions.
No, that's...
you're making assumptions.
He literally looked you up on the computer.
Oh, as far as your knowledge
you're
of that?
Assuming whether I knew or did not know.
Right, I never
You didn't know you were suspended?
said I knew for a fact. Okay. I'm not in your mind, I can't know that. But there's pretty good evidence to show that you likely knew. But additionally from that, for the concealed firearm, yes, you are under arrest. So we just need you to step out. We don't want it to be incident or anything. Just ask you to step out and face the panel up there for us, please.
So maybe like I explained to you, this isn't the place to argue. That just makes things worse. That's why there's court.
Yeah, you guys looked for the most petty thing that you could to arrest me for.
Okay, well we didn't.
And
we didn't
I'm
look
willing
for
to bet that in the process, you guys have got a whole lot of other things going on. So before we jump to that, I'd like to know what I was pulled over for.
I told you were stopped for expired tags. Okay, additionally, the registered owner of the vehicle is suspended. It appeared to look similar to you based off the picture I pulled up before I stopped you. But in and of itself, I can stop you if the registered owner of the vehicle is suspended and the description would match. Additionally, you have a light housing on the back here that's broken. I didn't notify you that that's why I stopped you, because I was primarily just stopping you for the tags. But I mean, we can point at things, but I don't want to nitpick with you. I don't want to argue with you. Okay, this is kind of what we're going to do. You're obviously very familiar with the courts. You referenced the Supreme Court earlier in the stop. Okay, so you know that that's the place to argue this stuff. So at this point, that's why you're under arrest. Okay, so we're going to ask that you step out. We don't want an argument with you. We don't want any altercation. So your car, so you were convicted of driving while suspended recently. So
you have no insurance on the vehicle.
You guys have no legal right to tell it.
Okay, again, you can argue that in court.
But I'm talking to you now.
Okay, this isn't the place for these arguments, okay, ma'am? So I'm going to ask you to go ahead and step out of the vehicle, and if you refuse
I will
to...
step out of the vehicle. However, the U.S. Supreme Court has already ruled that a vehicle is a household effect.
Okay.
Therefore, you have no right to tow it.
Okay, again, you can argue
What?
that in court. You can argue that, you can file...
The police can absolutely fucking tow your car. They can impound your car. What is she talking about?
Lawsuits, you can do what you like.
So,
Okay.
in other words, what you're saying is that you don't care
get him on the camera.
that you are stomping all over my constitution.
What I care about is, this is my job, okay? I am educated, I'm informed, I get the training on laws and court rulings.
But that does
okay?
not mean that you know all the laws.
Okay.
And that does not mean that you are kept up to date on the U.S. Supreme Court's rulings.
Right. So I'm pretty kept up to date. And again,
I've done my
if I'm
research.
wrong, I'll eat crow later. Okay. But this isn't the
Eating
place
crow
for it.
later is not going to help me.
Okay. Well, it might. So, go ahead, ma'am. Go ahead and step out of the
In the
vehicle. You are under
meantime,
arrest.
you guys are taking something that you have no legal right to take.
Again, not the place for the argument.
I have not even said that I'm going to tow it yet, but we need you to step out now so we can get you in custody safely, and then we'll go from there. So please face that way. Face that way, and put your hands behind your back.
Ow!
Good.
Would you
Do
please
you need
be
two
gentle?
sets of cuffs?
I have a right shoulder injury.
Okay.
So
Chief, will you
please
hold
be
this
gentle.
arm? We'll put 2 sets of cuffs on you.
And please
We'll do our very best. I'm only limited by these 2 cuffs.
Too much.
It'd be a little better if you were able to hold a little more still.
Well, I'm sorry that I'm not standing still enough for you. I'm a little bit stiff.
Let me check the tightness on this one.
Real quick, ma'am, you do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can't be used for the law. You have the right to appear present when you push it. If you have power to hire a lawyer, one will be appointed to represent you at no expense. Do you understand those rights, ma'am?
I'm going to double lock these just so they don't tighten up anymore on you.
Did she do anything else? Or are we good?
I know you have keys. There's certain things you can and can't have on you when I transport you to wherever we're going. So can I take your keys out of your pocket? I see the top one hanging out there. I'll just grab it by that and put it in here on your behalf. Okay. Anything else in your pockets that I could put in here? Because I got to make sure you don't have any weapons or means of escape.
I don't think I have anything else.
So these keys right here, I'm just going to grab those. My camera's pointing right at it there. Grab by the top, pull them out.
I'm going to call him back and let him know.
There are more keys in the bottom of my pocket. Give me a minute to get a hold of my daughter.
So you have more keys in which pocket?
It's the same pocket.
Front right. Is it okay if I remove those?
Yes,
okay, I'm going to do it the best I can, okay?
It's not a deep pocket, so
I'm just going to try to lift that up. I see them there, so I should be able to go. Oh, I see this one. Was that fine, just like that?
yeah, they're loose.
Okay.
There we go.
Awesome.
Yep.
So duck. Okay, so your head should be clear now. And I'll give you some time to get your legs in.
It's not as easy as
I know, it's difficult.
Okay, this is.
You want me to go on the other side and pull on you?
Can you push my feet up?
Yep. There we go. I'm going to sit you up. Perfect. There we go. Okay, would you like a window down?
No, thank you.
So on her CC, she's got pretty lengthy, a lot of driving stuff, suspended criminals. She does have a weapon conviction back in 2001. She was acquitted on it. And then there's a child neglect conviction of forgery. but it
Ooh,
doesn't show
child
conviction,
neglect
so
conviction. That fucking sucks.
It's actually a valid.
He's going to go to jail today. So.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll wait here and you delayed on my lunch.
Sorry, sir. Thank you.
Oh, fuck. Well, that's a shame.
So what's your name?
Oh, this is a sovereign citizen type who is filming inside of, I don't know if it's a Lowe's or a Home Depot, some big box home improvement store. Can you guess what he's arguing with the staff about? It's masks.
So what's your name?
Huh?
What's your name?
It's right there.
Justin?
Yep.
So I believe it's my right to be in a public space. And
Public space. This is a private company, and you're being asked to wear a mask or to leave the store.
Can you show me where it says private property or no trespassing or?
Yeah, we do have signs up at the front door.
Can you show me
You
those?
need to leave.
Can you show me them?
You need to leave.
Can we go look at them?
You need to leave.
I'll go look at them with you. Otherwise, you're.
This has been going on for a year.
Play the cleanse after this? Sure.
Everybody wears a mask in the store.
But otherwise, you're discriminating.
I'm not discriminating.
I believe
Being a dumbass isn't a protected class, sir.
you're discriminating against me for not for not.
No, I'm not discriminating.
For not desiring
You're
to wear
discriminating against me for not letting me not wear shoes in a 7-Eleven.
the masks, because you know they're useless, right?
Doesn't matter.
It does matter, though.
It doesn't matter.
It does. If it doesn't do anything, then you're violating my right to fresh air.
No.
May I see where it says private property?
Oh my god, it's... sovereign citizens have such a problem between the idea of a public place and a place of public accommodation. A Walmart is not a public place. You can walk in, most likely, but it's still private. It's a place of public accommodation, which is a different thing legally. They might be allowing the public in, but at any time they can tell you to leave for any reason. The owner of a store could literally tell you, "Get the fuck out of my store. I don't like the color of your shirt." Now, they can't say, "Get the fuck out of my store. I don't like the color of your skin or your religion," or stuff like that. Basically, things that are protected classes, you know, for good reason. But on an individual basis, you can kick people out for any reason or no reason as long as it's not one of the protected class things. So, he's very wrong.
Out the door.
Can you show me where it says private property?
Out the door.
Can
This
you
is
show me where?
private company. You need to leave the door.
It's not a private company.
The police are on their way. So you need
That's
to
fine.
leave.
That's fine. The police.
We'll ask you to leave. This is private company.
They may ask me to leave, but then that's just it. They're asking me.
No, they're going to tell you to
It's
leave.
not how it works.
Because this is private company.
So I think you're claiming things you don't know any better, though.
Yep. Have a good day.
All right. Well, give me
Have
the
a
mask.
good day.
I'll
No,
concede.
you're at this
so
point.
now.
At this point, I
So
don't
now,
want you
now
in the
you
store.
really are
You're being
discriminating.
trespassed.
Now you are discriminating.
No, at this point, you're being trespassed from the store.
Okay. I'm being trespassed from the store for what reason?
Yes, for not wearing a mask and refusing.
I'm not refusing. I'm telling you right now.
You are refusing.
I'm
Have
telling
a
you
good
right
day.
now. I'm wearing that.
It's a private
I will
company.
put on the
I do
mask.
not want you in the store.
But it's not private.
Bye.
I'd like you to
Have
show
a
me
good
where
day.
it says private.
Have a good day.
Well, I'm going to continue to shop
No,
because
you're
it's not private.
No,
Are you going to
this
stop
is
me?
a private company.
Are you going to physically stop me?
No.
Because I believe that's unlawful. Okay. Thank you.
Are the police on their way? Tim, thank you.
What a dumb asshole.
Here, right?
Outside, yes.
This feels perfectly clean in here.
I just want to see when the cops show up.
Since you're,
You're fine.
since you're, how are you doing? Colt?
Yeah, you gotta go outside.
Hey, can I give you your name, your badge number?
Let's go outside.
Well,
H. Baird says,
Listen, you're gonna
I
be
still
arrested.
wear a mask in stores, though a lot of that is so I can cover my face on days when I have electrolysis. Same! Or if it's like a day when, like, I just don't feel like putting on makeup or whatever. Yeah. I'll throw a mask on. It's convenient.
Triple trespass. Let's go outside.
Whoa, hey, what? Why?
Outside.
Why
You're
would?
being asked to go outside.
Is there? I mean, can I
This is
can I
a
ask a
private
few
store.
questions?
Outside.
They're asking you to have a mask on because it's required. For their store, it's private. Let's go outside.
Do you know if it's publicly traded?
Sir?
Oh my god, a company being publicly traded doesn't mean it's a public place, you dumb cunt. That's not how this works. That's not how any of this works.
You're gonna go out front?
Well,
you see, Apple is a private company, so I can literally walk into the Apple headquarters and do anything I want.
Like,
I have
Big brain time.
no idea about publicly traded. No idea what you're even talking
But that's
about. We're
relevant.
gonna go out front. It's not relevant. What's
Can-
relevant is that you're not going outside.
Can somebody show me a private property sign or something?
It's a store.
Right.
I think the given is it's private property.
Absolutely.
This isn't a public store.
I disagree.
It's privately owned.
That's not an opinion. You get to have a disagreement on it. It is a fact that it is a privately owned store.
Right, but I mean, people are coming and going as they please, right?
With a mask on.
It's publicly
You're the
traded,
only
right?
one.
It's publicly traded.
Holy shit, these people are... This guy actually makes me angry. A lot of the time they don't make me angry, but this guy makes me mad. He's so relishing in his stupidity and ignorance. He loves it, and he thinks he's so right.
You're the only one without a mask on.
Is it publicly traded?
We're gonna go outside.
I mean,
You're fine.
Since you're threatening me, I mean, well, if I'm not going to go to jail, then I prefer doing my shop.
So we're gonna go outside because it's mandatory.
Mandatory
You have to have a mask on, sir. It's
for whose? But by whose
The governor.
mandates?
The governor. Sir, it's a store. They ask you to have a mask on.
So I
If
don't
you're not
have the
gonna
right to
a mask
fresh
on,
air.
You have to leave. That's all this is.
This is a property.
That's all this is. We're just gonna go outside.
I take that as a threat, Officer Singh.
Okay, you're going outside. Listen.
I'm just asking for private property sign. Because if it's private property, absolutely.
Right there's a sidewalk.
Where?
It divides private property.
Sorry?
The sidewalk divides the private property.
No, I don't believe so. This is.
Their property goes all the way to the sidewalk.
This is a private business. They have the ability
It's
to
not.
have their own rules.
I
They
don't.
would like you to have a mask. That's all this is.
I'm really not sure you understand what you're claiming.
Oh my god,
I
this
don't
dumb
think you're
asshole. You don't understand what you're claiming. You don't understand the difference between private and public. And I want to gouge out my eyeballs.
Because yes, somebody owns this business, but it's a franchise, and
It's okay. McDonald's is a franchise. Do you think McDonald's are public property? Ender92 says, by his logic, my home isn't private property because I don't have a fucking sign.
Okay.
it's publicly
I
traded,
guess.
which
Still
means it's a
have
public.
rules.
It's a public forum.
No, it's not, you dumb whore! What are you talking about? What? It's a public forum!
No, it's
What rule have I broken?
They would like you to have a mask on.
Do per policy, right?
Well, yeah, for their policy, you have to have a mask on.
Okay, now if Walmart.
Okay.
Wait, is it Walmart?
I don't have to answer these questions.
Well, I mean,
So let's go to the sidewalk.
if you don't have to answer them, then
We're gonna leave.
I'd just like to make a knowledgeable decision. And if you can't answer them, then I don't feel like you have any authority.
Sir,
I don't
you're just being
understand.
asked to leave because you're not wearing a mask.
We're in the middle of something. Why do you have to be the person that's...
So I can run a 7-Eleven and say, because you're wearing a shirt, you're not allowed in here?
You could! If you owned a business, you could absolutely do that. You could have a business that requires people take off a shirt to be in there. Yes, you could do that. I don't think it would be very helpful, but you can. And it's funny to me that he basically almost said the thing. 7-Eleven already kind of does that, except the opposite. They require you to wear a shirt and shoes. Yes, companies can absolutely have policies like that.
Sure. Hey, my partner can write a ticket. We can go to court over it. It's a trespass ticket. My partner's training, so he doesn't mind.
What lawful purpose would I be trespassed?
You're being trespassed because you're not following their rules and the state mandates.
You can be trespassed for basically any reason. I can just say I don't want him here anymore. Trespass.
You're being told to leave. They have
Hi,
right
Lou.
to trespass you off any private property. This is private property. You're trespassed.
Can you show me where it's private property?
Right there.
Sir, do you have a receipt for this store to prove you own it? Eric RPG, thanks for 12 months, says, don't get to catch you live often, so congrats Mrs. Blast Reloaded and happy anniversary for me. Thank you.
Here, the sidewalk.
No. Show me where it says no trespassing or...
My house has my own house.
Your house is not...
It doesn't say private property.
Your house... Does your house have people coming and going continuously?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
So people can just walk in right in?
No.
Okay, then it's not presumed.
This open to the public, but you're being
Very good.
trespassed off.
Strangers continuously walk in and out.
We're trying to save you a criminal charge.
And I'm trying to understand it.
It's $1,000 fine.
I'm really not concerned about the cost.
My partner is edging to... I'm telling him to write a ticket because he needs practice. I don't mind him taking this call and giving you a ticket, and you can discuss this in court and have a criminal charge on you. If you want us to do that, we're more than willing to accommodate.
So what is the crime?
We're telling trespassing. You're being told to leave, you're not leaving. We're giving you the option to leave. We got an open path for you. We've asked you
I'm not
super nice.
I'm just trying to ask questions. I thought
I'm just asking questions, bro.
Absolutely
you know
not.
the era we're living in. You know what's going on today.
You can't really claim that I was being rude. I was being absolutely cordial, and as I still am. And you guys have been, fair the same. I understand
you're
you're
being asked to leave. It's private property. Please leave and go to the sidewalk and continue on your day. But you can't go back into the store without a mask on. Or any other store.
So nobody can show me a private property sign anywhere.
Sir, we're not going to get into the private property sign. I think
I'm
it's
just trying.
known that a business is private property. You mind if I show it? Sure.
Private property?
Yeah.
I mean, that's all I'm asking for is just to show me that it's private property.
I think you're smarter than this too. I think you understand the ins and outs of society.
I've actually researched this, and it's publicly traded, and therefore it's a public forum.
All my research was at the bottom of a paste bottle, so I kept having to eat the paste in order to read the research. So I'm like 50% research, 50% paste at this point.
The difference, and I'll explain that to you as soon as I answer your first question.
Okay. No, it's not to say it's not privately owned.
It's owned by Able Properties, and it's private property. This is their property line.
Certainly.
So anything on this property, and any employee that works at this property or leases it or runs it, manages it, any part of this green line is private property. And if you're, for any reason, for example, you're not wearing a shirt and you're offending people, or you're spitting or stealing from here, or not following the governor's orders, yes, it might be very minute to you. All these other customers don't want to be with you or within any distance, and they don't want to come associated because they can get fined as a business by the state because you're violating the state governor's rules. We don't want to enforce it, but you're forcing our hand. If you don't leave, we're gonna have to give you a ticket.
May I add?
Our job, even the governor wants us to tell you, hey, we got to educate you first.
Right.
That's our job, and we're educating you, and I think you're being educated. And I'm showing you at private property. Every property has a business. Every property line has a little square box. Any of that property.
I see. Well, I see what you're saying. Okay. So at what point would it be discrimination? Like I said, I mean, if I
at no point. At no point would it do that.
If my store.
That's civil suits. You're happy to find a civil suit against.
So this sounds like a civil suit.
Yes. But you can
That's
do
a
that.
civil law. We don't
But
do that.
we're here to enforce criminal law, which is trespassing. We wouldn't be here if it was a civil issue. They wouldn't call the police. The reason we're here is you're violating their rules, which is civil. But guess what? You're also trespassing on this private property.
So the owner has explicitly said that I cannot come on this property. The owner of the property.
The person in charge, because the owner can't be here at 100%, because he probably lives in California, maybe lives in Lake Oswego, Tiger, or some other city. This is a business. People who own properties, leases, buildings, for example, like our police bureau downtown is leased by the county. We're not going to have the owner at the county jail or the county building 24/7, right?
You're clearly looking for confrontation.
I'm not. I'm really not. It's just for my protection.
You're clearly looking to go into a store without a mask on for confrontation.
No, I needed staples and.
You're clearly looking
tools.
for this confrontation.
Absolutely
We're not
not.
going to give it to you, but we have to ask you to leave, or we're going to arrest you for trespass. Once they ask you to leave and you refuse to do so, that is a trespass.
I mean, I believe you're incorrect, but I'm leaving under the threat of arrest.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So I've been threatened to leave.
It applies to every business, sir. So if we get another call on you, you've been educated. So if you go there, we're not going to give you the same education again. We will arrest you for that. Does that make sense? Because I'm working till 2 a.m. this morning. If I get another call on you...
It doesn't make sense, but none of this makes sense to me. So.
Well, then I don't understand that. You look like an educated person. You look like a smart guy. I think you're fully aware of understanding what's going on.
Well, I understand what they're trying to do, but what's lawful, I don't.
You know that when you're asked to leave a business for whatever reason, even if you had a shirt on.
If I was doing something that was.
If you had a shirt on that said something vulgar or impulsive or something.
Eric RPG says this particular issue, which is common with sovereign citizens, is they think they're entitled to harass people.
I believe that's freedom of speech. No.
The only person that gets to violate that kind of stuff, like violate your civil rights, is this guy, the police, right?
You're serious?
A business just commits a crime or some sort of a civil.
You didn't just say that. That you're allowed to violate my civil rights.
No, that's not what I said. I said the only people that get to do that are the government. We violate your civil rights somehow. Whether it be law enforcement or whatever. If two individual people do it, it's just a crime against each other, right?
He's explaining the difference between a civil suit and an actual, like, rights issue.
You can't violate somebody else's civil rights, they can't violate yours. That's a governmental interest. What I'm saying is when they ask you to leave, that you could have a shirt on that says some vulgar, racist comment, they can ask you to leave because of that. If that's not what they like, they can ask you to leave. If you feel differently, your job would be to seek some sort of ramification in a civil court against them, right? But that's not what we do. We're just here to ask you to leave because they asked you to leave. And when you refuse to do so, it is a trespass. So we're just asking you to move about your business.
And I agree with most. I agree with most of what you're saying.
Keep going. Let's go to the sidewalk. Thank you.
I agree with most of what you're saying, but but you're incorrect in some way.
No, they're not. You're just stupid.
I'm gonna save you the lecture that your supervisor probably will give you.
Oh my God, they're not going to. You're wrong.
No. I'm walking to my mode of movement.
He can't say car. He doesn't want to say vehicle or car, even though it's a car.
Sorry, what's your badge number again? And your badge number, please. Can I have your badge number? I believe that's your policy. It's not. That work?
That guy's such an asshole. What other stuff does he got? We already. Oh, this is the same guy that has been pulled over many times, by the way. It's this guy. We've seen him being pulled over multiple times. They always seem to let him go. Don't know why. Though I guess he hasn't posted in a month. So it's possible he went to jail finally. Why can't they say car? They think if they admit that their car is a car, then they need driver's licenses, so they have to pretend it's their personal conveyance, which they think is categorically different than a car, even though it's not. Someone asked me to play This Is a Cleanse. It's the trailer for the new VHS movie, which is an anthology horror series, if you don't know.
Fresh souls taste the best. And welcome back! This is a very special episode.
Spend the night in a coffin.
Lily! Lily!
The faster you breathe, the faster you use up your air, so you can't panic.
We have ourselves a winner!
Play or die! Play or die!
No. No.
I have Shudder. That's fun. I heard the last one was good. I liked the first two. I didn't like Viral. That one sucked. But I heard VHS, whatever the last one was good. I think it was 94 or something. Okie Dad says, I remember when Blair Witch came out, my wife and I saw it in theaters, then spent hours at home trying to figure out if it was real or not, using dial-up, mind you. And Logarth says, ah yes, the part where a man fights Slipknot to the death in a cave.
Have you seen their lawful papers? You've seen them, they're lawful? Yeah? They're lawful? Lawful? Okay, that's good. What court did it come from? Is it on your phone?
H. Baird says, I remember seeing Blair Witch Project in the theaters. My friends and I laughed our asses off at how ridiculous it was. The other theater goers really didn't appreciate it.
So if you're keeping the peace, what are you looking for? Sorry? What's that got to do with keeping the peace? In what? If you're here to keeping the peace? But you're keeping the peace, it's got no relevance to you. You know you can't interfere and you're interfering. What's another route I can do? Yeah, okay. To the wrong address, which I don't know who they are.
Exhibits are not depicting what you say you saw?
I don't know. Maybe I'm done for the day. It was a little shorter stream, but I had long D&D earlier. I think I'm done. I'll be back tomorrow, but I had a long day in front of the computer. I think my brain will thank me. If we do a raid... Tomorrow we'll do something fun. I don't know what we're gonna do. Maybe we'll do a VHS stream or we'll watch some really ridiculous chuds or something. No idea, but it'll be good. Oh, Jake getting high. Surprise. We'll do Jake. Alright, have a good night everyone. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Or whenever you guys watch the next stream.
This is nice.
No, I gotta do this one. I always forget. Alright, love you, Mr. Blast. Love the rest of you parasocially. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good night, everyone. I'm gonna go set up my new Xbox. It's gonna be good. Alright, see you guys later.